All right, so today's training is about how to break into a new territory. There is a system to that I've sort of figured out, and I don't believe that I've developed it. I think that I acquired the information just by listening to calls and different things like that. However, there is a system to it. I've never written the system down. I'm recording it now so that the people that come after you, that they can just watch this video. But if you're a note taker and you take notes and then you try to set up, please share those with me, because I usually just don't have time to, I don't have time to write systems anymore. Okay, so breaking a territory. So the first thing is you definitely need a library card, and we're gonna get, you're going to hear me say a lot of things, and then we're going to put it all together at the end. So Dane has a library card. Amanda, do you have a library card?
I believe so. It's been a minute since I've been to the local library, but I should.
Okay, Raisha, do you have a library card? Okay, so so we're going to test that today. So we may, break for a couple of minutes while you find your library card, because you need to be able to log on to the library's website. All right, so that's the first thing, is a library card. All right, the second thing is on your iPad. So let me, so Dane, you're going to work Waxahachie. Amanda, what's going to be your daily territory?
Well, I've been working Glenrose, but like today I want to go to Stephenville, a little town in between Glenrose and Stephenville. It hasn't had anybody policies written on, so that's a territory I would like to break into.
Okay, so here's what's most important, guys, and the reason why I'm doing this interactively with y'all is because a lot of times y'all know that I forget to say something until y'all spark it off. When you choose your territory, you marry your territory. You do not abandon it. You go to the same territory every day for a year or 2 or 10 years. You just keep going back to the same territory. So Amanda, you've got to figure out where you want to work. And while I'm talking to Amanda, Raisha, I'm talking to you too. I want you to think about this, because I'm about to ask you, and I'm going to need to know. So Amanda, how far is Stephenville from your home?
Probably 25 minutes.
25 minutes. Okay. Why Stephenville, or what was the other town you said?
It's Hico. It's kind of a little town.
I've worked both of those, by the way. So I've worked in both of those towns. Hico is smaller, doesn't have very many B2B, right?
Yeah, it's very tiny. I mean, it's very little.
I stayed there. So I went, and guys, when I was starting this career, I told y'all that I did things that were uncomfortable for me so that I could teach myself, so that I could train y'all. So I went to Stephenville by myself on a train more, and worked ranches down there in Stephenville, Amanda, and I went to Hico as well. And I stayed in Hico. I ended up sleeping in Hico because I can't remember, there was nothing available in Stephenville or something like that. I don't remember. But my clients that I had acquired by cold calling in Stephenville sent me to Hico to stay the night. So I think to choose Hico as a territory is too small for B2B. Okay, so I'm not quite sure why y'all are choosing that as a strategy, because it's never made sense to me. When there's no business, there's not enough businesses there to sustain you. Stephenville is a bit big, but you can't, but I think Stephenville is an excellent territory. Just know that that territory gets worked on train moors by the Bandera organization, and that's a good thing. But just know that at some point your territory will be infiltrated by by a team of very good salespeople. So that's not a bad thing, though. Okay, because the more clients that are in your territory, the better you have for name recognition and using those names to bounce those off of, to find more prominent people, right? To find more prominent people that have the policy gives you more credibility. So as a new person choosing a territory that's going to be infiltrated by the Bandera organization, I don't see that as a negative. especially as big as Stephenville is. Okay. Now here's one more question. And this goes for all of you, right? I'm talking to Amanda, but guys, y'all need to take note of what I'm saying. I'm not talking to y'all. I'm just talking to Amanda. So Amanda, in Glen Rose, do you have 5 business owners that you know in Glen Rose?
Yes, possibly. Glen Rose has been hard for me. Yeah,
Amanda,
I do.
Okay. So how about in Stephenville?
I don't know anybody in Stephenville. I'm trying to get to somewhere I don't know anybody. It's easier.
Why is that?
Just because everybody that I have seemed to know and talk to, they're not interested. Like
they're closed-minded.
Talking to me, yeah. So I would like to get out of my hometown for my territory.
Okay, so got to the answer. Okay, yeah. You want to start cold calling because other people are closed-minded. So that's fine. You've got a mental block to that. Let's get you out. You're gonna start. Your territory is gonna be Stephenville. Then we're picking Stephenville for you. Okay. All right. Stephenville. Raisha, how about you? Where's gonna be when you decide to get out of the house? Where's gonna be your territory?
I was looking more at the Kingfisher area, either Medford or Kingfisher, because they have businesses, but they're not huge. Like they're not a huge place, you know, like, and they're more of a small town feel, like old buildings, stuff like that. But it's not a big town, but it's not a small town. Like it's just
don't want a big town, right? But still that country town
bless
feel.
You.
And bless you. We still want the country town feel, but we want it bigger than say like where there's not businesses. So Stephenville is definitely a big town, and it can be extremely overwhelming, Amanda, because it's big. I've worked it, but it's still small enough that people know people. When you ask, hey, who can I go see for blah, blah, and blah, they're going to be like, oh, such and such, such and such, and such and such. They're going to know right away. They know each other there. So that's the feel when you're picking a territory. That's the feel that you want to get out of a town. Now, let's say I'm in Dallas, guys, and I'm working B2B in Dallas, and I ask that question, they're not going to even know who's next door and across the street from them. Okay. So pick a town, pick a city, pick a town that has that community feeling, that they still know each other. Cool. Right. So that's one of the keys to breaking a territory. So if y'all are taking notes, put that down. That's a key to breaking a territory. Choose it, because guys, at some point y'all are going to have somebody else to train. Okay. So Taylor doesn't know these steps because I just taught Taylor the system. I did not teach her systematically. So she just thinks that that's just what she does, right? She can't teach this back. So y'all are going to have to be the generation that's going to be able to teach this back, because at some point that's going to have to give me capacity, guys, to go do other things with the business, right? Okay. So the key is choosing a community with that feeling. All right. So on your iPad now you have names. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen with y'all. Oh crap. You know what? Before I do that, are y'all all on your iPads, or can you switch your screen and get to your mobile app? If you can, while I'm logging into my mobile app, will y'all please log into your mobile app?
So you want me to put the Zoom meeting on my iPad?
No, because you can just hold on. You can move away from your Zoom screen to your mobile app on your iPad. So just like I'm doing now.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to share my screen, and so watch my screen, and then we're going to go to your screens individually so that y'all can do this. Okay, so I'm going to use, I'm actually going to use Stephenville as the example. So we're going to go over to our mobile sales app. And if you see at the top right corner, you see like 2 bubbles, and then you see like an umbrella with some people on it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So you click on the umbrella with some people on it, and make sure. I think this is, let me see. No. Okay. Cancel. Hold on. Family. So, okay. You first have to go down to the bottom right corner under the gear for settings. And it says in the middle, it says families for protection list. And then you want to put in your territory, Stephenville. There we go. And instead of 5 miles, I'm going to take this out a little further, because I know there's a lot of ranches and different things around the Stephenville area that we've protected. So I'm going to do I think I'll do 15-mile radius. That even gets in Dublin. Okay. So let's see what we've got. So then you push the microscope button. There's 100. So Amanda, you have picked an amazing territory because you have 192 clients, family heritage clients in that area. Okay. So you save the list. There's my client right there. So Brandon Stewart, the 1, 2, 3, 4, Brandon Stewart and Mackenzie, those are my clients. So Amanda, we are going to have you start by going and seeing Brandon Mackenzie Stewart at their ranch and just making a friend, because I think they may be my only client. I think my other clients probably canceled. Okay, so when you go back to the main page, you go to that list, and then let's see. Then you put in, so I had already saved Kaufman because I was working with Shannon, so it should still stay on my iPad. So here's all the clients, okay? So that's your first thing. And let's see my client. And I told you that's probably my only client. So I'm going to star them so they come to the top. Okay. So if you star this little star over here, it pops the client up to the top of the list. When you're sharing this, and I'm going to get to how you use it. I was hoping Shannon would be on. When you get to how you're using it, you want to use the little star, because maybe you're in front of somebody and you know they're connected, you know they know this person. You're going to be like, hey, who on this list do you know? And they're going to be like, oh, I know Brandon and Mackenzie Stewart. And they're the first ones on the list because you already know through your research that they know each other, and you're just trying to get them to say it, not you say it, because it's weird. You shouldn't know these things that I'm going to teach you. So you have to act dumb, basically, and then you're going to ask a series of questions, like write these down, like how do you know them, where do you know them from, where does Brandon work, where does Mackenzie work? So you ask questions, because what you're going to tell them is these are family heritage clients. However, they're not your clients, and we're trying to find them so that we can ask for referrals. Because the company guys will not give us the information on these clients. So you've got to go and dig for the information to find these clients so that you can use them as a jump off. Okay. So that's how you get to your list. Now, let me go back over to y'all. Let's pause. Okay, I said you're saying. So I'm going to go back to my screen so that y'all can see this again. Once you save the list from settings, okay, so you're in settings, you've saved the list. So then you go back to the home, like your little home button. Okay, you've got your home button. You just choose, let's say you go back to the home button, and then up at the top left corner, you've got two bubbles, and then you've got an umbrella with some people. Families for protection. That's why you've got them, that it's a family with an umbrella over them.
Okay.
Families for protection. Okay. So, and then, I mean, depends on how many, oh wait, your I haven't downloaded Waxahachie, I don't think.
See, okay, I got to where you were saying, and it says only 3 results.
Okay. So
Um,
just go back and go back to settings, families for protection, Waxahachie.
I got 13 now.
Okay, so go back out to 10 miles because that gives you a little bit more clients, or even 8 miles. Yeah, if you just do 8 miles, you get all 65. I'm just trying to make sure that we know where these clients are and they're not too far out.
Okay.
Yeah, so 6 miles there. So what this probably is, let's see. Now they're all Waxahachie. So 65 clients. So I would just save that. And you know that those clients are really, really close. Oh, there you are, Dane. You're a client. Yeah. Okay. So then you go back over to the little family icon. And then depending on how many towns you've downloaded, I've got 2 clients there.
Pretty sure. How many clients do I have? I have 1, 2, 3. I have 5 clients on Waxahachie.
Okay, good. So it gives us a starting point. All right, so let's get on to the next step. So y'all are good with, so now y'all know how to get the families for protection. Now this is where it gets fun, but a little creepy.
Oh, God.
Stalker status.
Stalker status.
Oh, I feel it coming, honestly.
Stalker status, okay? So, by the way, I have never been the type of woman that as soon as I meet somebody, I'm like trying to stalk them on all social media. Like, it just doesn't even enter my mind. So, what I'm going to teach you is going to feel creepy, but I'm going to also teach you how to use it in a responsible way that you don't come off creepy, okay? So, the outlets that you want to research in town, you want to start with, say you want to do a Google search for Stephenville cancer, Stephenville accident, right? You're doing a Google search, okay? So your Google searches, then you can do your not Facebook, oh shoot, GoFundMe. Go to the GoFundMe website and figure out who's had cancer, who's had an accident, who's had, I mean, heart attack is just try to find cancer and accident, okay? As we keep talking, guys, my brain might spark off another thought, but let's just start there so that you can understand what you're doing with this information. So once you can find some cancer and some accidents in town, the first thing you want to do is go cross-reference who you see having had some sort of cancer or an accident situation to the family heritage names list. Okay, so really, you're going to always try to cross-reference back over to the family heritage names list because we can't get access to the claims. So we don't know. But if we can figure that out on our own, we can go to that client, as long as you can't sell the client anything. So just so you know, I didn't tell you all that, but you can't sell that client anything, but you can, but we can dig for information, and I'll tell y'all how to do that. Okay. So you're always cross-referencing information with your names list. Okay. So now you're looking for cancer, you're looking for accidents, and just in general. Once you find if they're not on the names list, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to go look them up in Facebook. And you're going to stalk them. Like, you're going to look at their Facebook and dig in to learn about who they are and who they know. Okay? Because, guys, people put everything on Facebook for the most part. Okay? So you go over to Facebook. You're like, oh, the Smith. Okay, so let me give you an example, because I think an example will hit home better than me just hypotheticals. I will tell you that I was extremely proud of Shannon for doing this work. And it took her, she said it took her like 15 hours to do everything that I asked her to do. But she did it really, really good. So she found a lady, through her research, she found a lady not on the names list. She found that her daughter had had a car accident, and she went to Texas Tech. And then a year or two later, her daughter died in the accident. It was a drunk driver, I think. And then a couple of years later, her daughter died in a car accident. Both young, both in their, maybe teens or early 20s. Okay, so this lady's lost 2 kids, one to a drunk driver. She doesn't have any more kids, right? She's lost them both. How passionate do you think that lady is about car accidents, right? Period. She's probably pretty passionate. So the next step, and I'm going out of order a little bit because I'm telling you a story, but you've got to grasp this and just kind of put it together in sequence. So then what we did with that information is we just stopped at the newspaper in town. Boom, write that down. Stop at the local newspaper. Do you think that the reporter at the newspaper or the editor knows pretty much everything going on in that town? Yeah, they do. Okay, they know the news. They report it. Okay, so when we went into the newspaper, I just sat down and said, hey, my name is Tina. I'm with Globe Life Family Heritage Division. I'm in charge of this territory, and I'm just looking for some help because here's what we do. We do a really good thing for communities, and I'm looking to connect with the community. Who do you know where should I start? Just a simple question. Can you help me? Where should I start? Okay, you know where you want them to start, but you got to kind of play it like dumb so that they may say, I don't know. Okay, so possibly, and you want to use not definitive language, right? You want to use like, I'm not quite sure, but hey, well, maybe, let's just think through this. Maybe, do you know anybody who's had a serious accident in their family, or who's had cancer in their family, or somebody that has some sort of organization that helps others in that capacity? So what you'll end up finding are advocacy groups in your towns for whatever, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, whatever, right? You're going to find the advocacy groups. And once you find the advocacy groups, go meet with the president or, whomever. And your goal is not to necessarily sell them a policy, but to get information and make a connection so that you can present at the meeting, or find just ways to support the community. If you're serving the community, you're going to be able to reap rewards from that because you're approaching with the service heart, and you really are, guys, right? So at the end of the day, are we going to sell some cancer and accident policies? Yeah, that's what we do. But why do we do it? So that when the inevitable happens, that the shit that they've gone through already, that they've seen other people go through in their community, we can't fix that. We can't fix the emotions. We can't make it not happen, but we can lessen the financial burden when that stuff happens. And that's one less thing that they have to deal with when they're going through something catastrophic, like an accident or like cancer or a heart attack, right? Okay, so that is, so you're going to the newspaper editor, you're saying, hey, who do you know? The newspaper's probably going to give you some advocacy groups. They're probably going to give you the Chamber of Commerce. Now, guys, do you think you could just do this on your own? Could you Google advocacy groups? Yeah, you can. But doing it this way allows you to make a connection and learn something new, because if the newspaper editor has grown up in the area, they probably emotionally know something about that person or people who are head of the boards and why those people serve the community the way they do. And then when you end up going over to that board director or whatever, that board president, you can say, oh, I was with Cammie out at Waxahachie newspaper, and she had some really awesome things to say about you. You always start with a compliment. Write that down. You always start with a compliment. Make somebody feel good. And she said that you're a really open-minded person and that you just serve the community. And she thought it would be beneficial for us to meet, because that's what I'm here for. I'm responsible for Stephenville. I'm in charge of Stephenville. And I want to know what's going on in the community so that I can better serve the community. Okay? All right. Do you hear the language? Okay. Does the language sound salesy? No. Is it salesy? No. I'm not lying. Like, that is my heart. But guys, every single one of you that I hire are at some point in my image, because I create the culture here. So I know I can teach you how to do this because I've hired every one of you, and I know you have the same heart as me. You have the same heartbeat as me. Okay? So if you didn't give a crap about people and all you wanted to do was make money, then this system probably wouldn't work, because you wouldn't be genuine about it. Okay? So you're going in the newspaper. Now they're probably going to say Chamber of Commerce. If they don't, you can ask, right? Have a list of organizations or people that you want to know. Hey, do you know the Smiths? Do you know anything about the Smiths? Do you know anybody? So, right, you just started the newspaper and you're going to do the same process over and over and over for 2 days. Okay. These are our clients. Who do you know on this list? I know this person, and oh, cool. Then you ask questions. How do you know them? What do you know about them? Right? And try to make it conversational. Otherwise you come off creepy, right? Well, because nobody wants to give information to somebody that's rapid firing questions either, right? So break them up, tell a story, give something to get something, right? And, so sorry to hear about that, that Miss Smith in town went through this accident. I went through something similar in my life. So all of you know that the reason why I'm in Family Heritage is because I came back from Europe because 5 people died in a car accident. 3 of them were kids by a drunk driver. That was the first accident that happened in my family. 2 years later, my nephew accidentally shoots himself in a hunting accident. That's the second thing that took me out of Asia. My life was never supposed to be here in front of y'all, right? I was supposed to be working globally, but that's not God's plan for me. Okay? So use my story. Know my story unless you have your own story. You know, you can say our organization was built on this service mentality because, you know, my mentor, my boss, whatever, my friend in the business, whatever you want to call me, you know, she went through this too. And so we're here to serve because things happen. And this is our passion for giving back. Have a story and learn how to make it seem really sad, like heartfelt, right? If you're just telling a story and you don't have any feeling behind it, you're not going to get the same reaction than if you teach yourself how to have a little bit of sadness in your eyes. And this business is a little bit of acting, and it's okay, you know? It's okay. All right, so have the stories there to tell so that you can get something back. Have something in your back pocket to talk about with people so that it's not weird when you're asking these questions, okay? All right, it's called a give to get. If y'all have never heard that, write it down. It's a give to get. All right, so you know that how you do the names list. Okay, so these are our clients. However, they're not my clients. The company won't give me their addresses. But if I can find them, I know I can ask for referrals. Who do you know on this list? How do you know them? Where do they work? All right, go. Because asking for their home address is kind of weird. Where do they work? So where does his wife work? Where does his husband work? If you can find the work, even better. Why would that be even better than finding their house? Now you get to go over to the business and say, hey, John Smith is our client. Is he available? Boom, you're in a business. You have a reason to be there. You're talking to a client. Now, how much easier is that to walk in a business knowing you have a client there than trying to ramble off on approach and getting told no by the gatekeeper, right? The gatekeeper's not going to say no to you if you're there asking for someone specific. Okay? All right, so that's the newspaper editor. You want to ask, you know, you can do the same thing at the Chamber of Commerce. Go join Stephenville Chamber of Commerce. Go join Waxahachie Chamber of Commerce. Raisha, I don't know how big your area is, but find the local Chamber of Commerce. You don't have to join right away. They probably will let you do 3 meetings, 3 luncheons. I don't know what chambers are doing right now with coronavirus, but go meet with the president of the chamber and do the same process with the chamber president. In these towns, the chamber president is your golden ticket to everything because that person knows everything about commerce in that town. Okay, and their job is to get membership. So don't say you don't want to join, right? Because your job is to become a part of the community and the chamber is a part of the community. So I have run out of like ideas now. I'm sure I've missed something, but that, oh, I know what I missed. Okay, so that is that component. Okay, that's that component. What you're trying to do, if you think of you in the center right? You in the center, and you've got all these people out there. You're trying to figure out how to connect the dots, so that if you're at this dot, but you want to get to this dot, how do you get there? How do you find a connection to get yourself over to this dot? Okay, so you also want to, you can use, so you can stop in the city. I would recommend that you probably do this with your trainer. Stop in the city and ask for a meeting with the mayor. And you're doing the same process. Hey, I'm in charge of this town. This is what we do. I'm not just here to sell, schlep some insurance. We don't schlep insurance. We literally protect families, and we do it in a very unique way. So meeting with the chamber, not the chamber, the mayor, the council people in the city council, that usually have 8 precincts. So you've got eight people that are in charge of what? They're in charge of the community, their constituents. Okay, so that's usually on the city website. The fire chief, go talk to the fire chief. Hey, fire chief, I'm in charge of Waxahachie. Who do you know on this list? These are our clients. Who do you know? Do you think the fire chief knows where everybody lives? Yeah, because they're firemen. They know where everything is, right? But you're using this system to get information, but it also makes you, it gives them a chance to, it's kind of like you're pivoting. It gives them a chance to check you out. And if you're a weirdo and you don't got no heart, people are going to see through that right away. But if you're genuine and you have a heart and they feel like you're there to help their community, they're going to help you back, right? That's why I said, I know y'all can do this because I've hired every one of you. But if you didn't have a service heart, this would not work. People would retreat from you, right? Retract from you. Okay, so police chief, fire chief, mayor, councilman, anybody that's important in town. Now you're looking, so I call it head on a swivel. Write that down. You want to keep your head on a swivel. You are trying to connect the dots with who's important and who do we have on the client's names list. Superintendent of the school, teachers, principals, all that shit's online. All of that information is online, okay? So cross-reference those all to the names list, because we got to go find these people on the names list. If you do your homework, Dane, if you do your homework on Monday, I should be able to pop into territory and have some stuff rolling right away. If you've done your homework. And Dane, if you don't do your homework, I'll leave territory, because I don't go to market in the 36-1. I'm too smart for that, guys. I don't need to be out there in the heat when I can do this strategically. I have a master's degree in strategy. What good is it unless I'm using it and teaching y'all how to do this smarter than the hard way, which is go see 30 businesses a day. But doing 30 businesses a day teaches you discipline to get out there and get out of your comfort zone. So before I'll ever go work with someone, I need to know that y'all are willing to go do that. And then I'll teach you how to do this, because I can teach you how to do this, but if you haven't even broken through the fear barrier of walking in someplace just to give an approach and try this out, just try out the 30 calls a day equals 6 demos equals 1 sale. If you've never even done that, then this is still impossible to do, because it does take courage to do. And you have to have done something to earn that feeling of what you're doing and why you're doing it, right? And if you've been out there and you've had a tough time getting demos and getting sales, then you can appreciate when you go and do a strategy like this. Because what you'll, if I was working Dracia, if I was training you and Amanda, just like I did Shannon, like my results are come like that, right? Because if y'all have done the homework, then all you can do is watch me use the information. Okay. All right. So, the billboards during election, the billboards that you see around town, write those names down. You're cross-referencing. Now, you're cross-referencing to find, are they already clients? The next thing you're doing is they're public servants. So reach out to them. You're Facebook stalking them. And then message them. Message them on Facebook. Hey, my name is Raisha, and I'm in charge of this area. I'm hoping to just grab 5 minutes of your time. You don't even have to tell them why until they ask. The less is the better, guys. Don't throw up on people. Oh, that annoys me so much. Don't write a freaking novel in a text message or a novel on Messenger. When somebody is soliciting me, I read the first line. And if you haven't caught me by the first line, I've already closed it. I don't have time to read your message. Oh, there's Shannon. Good. So then Facebook messaging. Hey, Shannon. So then Facebook messaging those prominent people. So when Shannon and I stopped in to the city to try to get 5 minutes with the mayor, which they were open to letting us do, we were waiting and waiting and waiting. And Shannon and I were socially distant, so she couldn't see what I was doing, and we had our masks on, so we really couldn't crosstalk. But all I was doing while we were sitting there, and that was the first day, is I was Facebook stalking all the city councilmen and the mayor. And while we were sitting there waiting to see the mayor responded to my Facebook message. So he agreed to meet with us while we were waiting to meet with him, And the gatekeepers, even though, the mayor should be 100% accessible to the community, in my opinion. He's an elected official. He should not say no to the community if the community wants to see him. But I'm sure that the gatekeepers are there to say, oh yeah, he's busy, blah, 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 blah. No, he's not. He can meet with me. So when I've gone into other smaller communities, I make friends with the mayor. I just make the mayor love me. Because then if the mayor you can endear yourself to the mayor will refer business to you. So I've got communities where in Central Texas where if I go and schedule, if I call the mayor and I'm like, hey, I'm going to be in town for 24 hours. He's like, I'll say, can I use City Hall to meet with clients? Yeah, cool. Who should I meet with? Who needs to see me? I'm serving his community, and he then, this particular town, he lines clients up for me all day long. He calls his people, and he's like, you got to see this girl. You've got to go check out what she has. And they just walk in and they make appointments with me, and I sit there, and that's how I'll write an eagle in a few hours, guys. And I'm not even doing anything but sitting there because I've strategically created a relationship, but I've earned that relationship, right? I've earned it. I keep showing up. That's why I say, once you pick your territory, you marry your territory. If you don't show up, guys, people notice. Trust me. People notice. Okay? If you make an appointment and you miss it, you lose credibility. You think that they don't remember. They may not tell you they don't may not tell you, hey, you didn't show up. But trust me, your credibility meter just dropped. Okay? So show up and own that territory. All right. So, Shannon, I just went through all the Facebook, all the how you did the research, how I told you to do the research online, how we use the names list. I have not done Reference USA yet. So can you just tell them what it felt? Because I don't know, right? And I was just explaining how this is just a system for me. And for me, I just do it, you know. And you were really good at it. And when I showed up, I was like, dang, girl, like you had everything. You had notes. And I'm just like, and you had the connections and how you fed me the knowledge and then what I did with it. So let's tell them, help them understand the steps that you took. Explain to them the steps that you took to take the information that what I asked you to do and how did you do it. And then the next piece, we'll talk about what it looked like when I was in the car with you. But first, just talk to them about how you did the research.
Okay, so you have not gone over what the report looks like when they're in Reference USA?
No, but I can do that first if that is the key part. Is that a key part for what I did?
No, I mean, I can give them the summary of what they're looking for when they're learning the Reference USA, because I think that
let me just go ahead and talk to y'all about Reference USA really quick. So Reference USA is a database that is available through the library to get access to businesses. Shannon, I don't have my library card on me. Do you want to share your plan? Do you want to share that with me? I can just log on to your account. Oh God, ow, you can text it to me. All right, maybe I do. Let me just, hold on.
mine's
So I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so all I'm doing right now is logging on Plano to the library website. And then I'm looking for the databases. I'm not quite sure because I haven't done this in a while on Plano. But I remember. Okay, so right, guys, I'm literally just looking for. I don't know. I didn't know where it is, but I'm looking for online resources. See where it says Plano Library Links Research Databases. Just write that down so that when you're in your library, you know what you're looking for, or you can call the librarian and she can help you. I say she, it's usually a she. It's probably not fair. Okay, so now I'm gonna see business. Reference USA. Okay, so I've just looked, I said research databases, and I'm just looking for Reference USA. There it is. Do you see it in the center of the screen? Reference USA. It says access link, access now. There's the link to Reference USA. It's asking me to accept the terms. Oops. And then it's gonna, the library pays for it. Not all libraries pay for it, by the way. So you may have to ask if they have access to it. Can somebody unmute and see if y'all are tracking with me? Because I can't see y'all.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm tracking.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
All right. So from after you log into Reference USA, you're going to go to US businesses, which is going to be the first choice right here, US businesses. Okay. From US businesses, instead of quick search, you're going to go to advanced search. Okay. Now, you've got these filters on the left side of your screen. And I'm going to use Stephenville as the example. What this is giving us is obviously businesses, business information. Okay. So I always start, I do it in a specific order. So I always start by narrowing down to the geographical area. Let me do Texas first. Okay, so there's Texas, the state. I'm going to go ahead and do that so that, and then I'm going to, over here on the right, it says update count. I'm just going to update it so it knows what it's, I just kind of do that to make sure it knows what I'm looking for. And now hopefully Stephenville will pop up. Nope. Okay, let me try it again. Stephenville, Texas. TEXAS. That should work. Well, maybe not. This is easier to do from a laptop or a desktop, by the way, if you have one. I've
Tina, I
learned
think
to
it's spelled with a PH.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah, I could barely see it. I think that's what it is.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, let's just try someplace else. You're probably right, and now it's mad at me.
Seems like I had luck only with the zip code that day we did it, Tina, because I remember typing in my city and nothing came up, and I felt like it worked for the zip code. I don't know if it was just fluky that day.
It's just a very big database, guys, so it's just probably, it's trying to search it.
And I thought Waxahachie had a T in it, but maybe I'm wrong. Does anybody else see the screen?
Okay.
No.
So now we've got Stephenville. The next thing I look at is I want to omit home-based businesses, so exclude home-based businesses. I always do update count every single time. So you know, in Stephenville as a whole, Amanda, there's 1,135 businesses that are not home-based, okay? I want to go down and I only want private companies. Private means that they've still got an owner. They're not on the New York Stock Exchange. I don't want a company that's on the New York Stock Exchange because that's typically, they're that big. That means bureaucracy, and I'm looking for low-hanging fruit. Okay. Then, number of employees. Let's just do businesses for now because y'all are new. Just do businesses smaller than 10. So click, actually, let's just click 5 to 9. I think well, for y'all, you probably want to start with businesses 1 to 4 until you've taught yourself how to talk to gatekeepers. And then once you figure out how to talk to gatekeepers, you can increase to 5 to 9. Don't go burn your bridges at 5 to 9 when you're trying to teach yourself how to get in a business, because once you've walked in there, you're not going to be able to walk in there again for a while if you don't know how to ask the right questions. Okay, so let's just do 1 to 4. Let's just see what happens. 1 to 4. That's a lot of businesses. What am I doing wrong here? I know why. Take this off. Boom. There you go. 708. Amanda, you have 708 businesses in Stephenville that are extremely small and are privately held that are not home businesses.
That's a good amount of businesses, in my opinion.
That's probably too many. So if you were doing this in the traditional sense, I mean, you don't need that many businesses. But let's see, you saw 20 businesses a day. That's 100 businesses a week prospecting, and you're not going to do 100 businesses of prospecting a week because at some point you're going to be working, not just prospecting. That means that you have 7. If all you did was prospect, you have 7 weeks of businesses to go see at the size 1 to 4. That's a lot. Okay. Let me see if I omit anything else. Shannon did, I think that's everything. So, okay. So you want to push view results?
You had us go through industries too, I think, when we had a big number one time.
I did, didn't I? Okay. So
Yeah.
let's just do this right now. So let me just show y'all. So I did view results. And you can download you see the download button. So let me just press it. I think it says email. So you have to go through, and by company name, you have to push the button next to company name, and you have to go through every page. It may not let you download this many. So just be aware that 708 is a lot. Reference USA may not allow it. So you go through every page and do that same click. Let's see if it's download. And then you want to click download. And then for now, just click detailed because it's going to give you all the information that you need. And then email the records to yourself. I'm just going to download them. If you're doing it on a computer, you can put download. If you're doing them on an iPad, I would email the records to yourself because it doesn't have a very good format on an iPad. So now you can see we've got a spreadsheet. of a lot of information, okay? So what you've just done is given yourself, here's the owner. So let's just take 3 Stars Upholstery. Jesus Gonzalez is the owner of 3 Stars Upholstery. Just like everything else, the first thing you want to do is look at your businesses and do we have any clients that are business owners? So you're doing that cross-reference. Because we did detailed view, you've got a lot of information here that you don't need, but I wanted to show it to you. So the most important is just having the client name and knowing if they're the owner. But you can see here at Air, Wind, and Solar, Rick Graff, he's the manager, right? Allsup's convenience store, site manager. So you've got titles here. Big Brothers, Big Sisters, boom, there's a community service outreach, Lee Howard, executive director, okay? So as you go over to the right, there's a phone number. You're not calling these businesses, guys. You are going in person to these businesses. If you don't know what that business does, if you scroll to the right, it's going to tell you under primary SIC description. SIC is a code. It's like a government code that codes businesses. And so that gives you an indication of what they do. And you can identify, this is what Shannon was saying, you can identify the ones that you think have the most potential and start there. For example, I saw farms. To me, I love farms. Farmers deal with chemicals and farmers get cancer. So that would be a perfect call, you know, or trying to find a connection using the steps that we said before. Horses, animals are unpredictable. So there's a good one, right? So general contractors, well, that's construction. Construction, people get hurt, right? So it's just thinking through, where is your lowest hanging fruit on, there's ranches, oops. Ranches, where's your lowest hanging fruit, okay? That's for that part. And then as you scroll to the right, if you keep going, this isn't extremely important, but there's their sales volume. So what size of business are they? You've got $1 million business here. You're going to approach $1 million business differently than you approach somebody that just does 30,000. 30,000, they're not even working. What are they doing? You know, 30,000 in revenue. But still, every business, if you know, every business, I don't know what that business does because we don't. I'm not going to scroll back over. But my point is, you can identify and make educated, you can give yourself educated information about the businesses in the area, okay? And I think that's pretty much it as far as like just things to know. I mean, there's a ton of information on here of things you really just don't need.
Another thing that you said was helpful, and it was good for me to see, is they have a column that talks about like payroll expenses. And so you can kind of see, is it an employer that spends a lot of their sales money, you know, on taking care of their employees or not? If you don't see much there, then maybe they don't have very good benefits, and those employees might be more interested. But it's just tidbit of information that you could just have filed away.
There's payroll and benefits expenses. I think better than that is learning how to ask the right questions when you go into the business. But what Shannon's saying is that it can give you an indication of what they're already doing. And that's it. Okay. So, oops.
Can I jump in for a second? When y'all went over the client list, what I found helpful, because none of them are in alphabetical order. You may have already said this, but I retyped the list alphabetically for my own use, because as you're looking through all the managers and the executives and the business owners and stuff, and you're constantly looking back and forth to see if anybody's on the client list, it was a lot easier for me to kind of like find them.
Yeah.
Because I was going nuts looking at the other list.
Type them. You just need to stick them in a spreadsheet and sort them. If you do not know how to sort a spreadsheet, call me. It takes 1 second.
Well, I had it on my iPad, so I guess that's the step I need to learn, how to export that list. I didn't do that. I just,
Yeah, you can sort.
okay.
You can sort it. You can sort it from right there, actually.
Sorting wasn't the problem. It's getting it to where I could print it. I wanted to have it.
You have to manipulate it.
Cool.
You'd have to manipulate it in a spreadsheet. Okay, so one last thing is that if you click on business type, major industry group, so let's see, what did I do here? I cleared it. Okay, so Amanda, let's say you want to narrow down to something that you already know. Let's say you wanted to go look at, let's see, construction. You can click construction and click ag. You can update the count, and you have 43 construction businesses in Stephenville. So you can sort by just industry as well. Okay. So Shannon, what I would say is when you're trying to manipulate the spreadsheet, don't download the detailed version, download the summary. And that way it's just a little bit of information. You can
I was referring to our client list, like Globe Life client list.
Oh, got you. Okay. Well, let's hold that because we're on Reference USA. So if you want this printed, just download. You can have the detailed list on your iPad. You can also download the summary, and that way it's just a little bit of information that you can print and have available to yourself. Okay. All right. What tips or tricks do you have for them on where to start this research process? The things to do, and be specific, because I didn't know what you were talking about with the names list. So the power names list. So just be specific so that we understand exactly what you mean and what you did.
Okay. Step one is I started working with the spreadsheet first, because I downloaded the spreadsheet and it was long.
Which spreadsheet?
Here's what mine looked like when I was done. This is the Reference USA spreadsheet that you emailed yourself or you downloaded. And I basically went through the columns and I got rid of all the bullshit columns, forgive my language, that I really knew I didn't need, but I didn't delete them, I hid them because I didn't know if I might need them later. So if I got some data that, filed it away, okay, that's good to know, just things I would remember. I hid the column. And so I got my spreadsheet down to bare minimum stuff of company names and addresses. I liked the sales volume amount for the year that they were established, because that was kind of good to know that, you know, even if it's good to go in there and act like you know nothing about them, but you know the right questions, like, have you been around long? Or, you know, you can just ask the questions if you know the answer. Tina made me laugh one time, and this guy we've been stalking on Facebook, I totally knew. And she's like, so are you on Facebook? And he's like, well, yeah. And made a joke about him self being on Facebook. So it just kind of helps you know what questions to ask. I did the hours they were open. If I saw anybody that said open 24
Hey,
hours.
Shannon,
Yes, ma'am.
you're really staticky. Is other people hearing, like, it's hard to understand her?
Okay. Let me jump on with my iPad.
Okay. We can see you.
Okay, can you hear me better?
Oh my God, infinitely better.
Just when I'm trying to use my iPad, I don't like to do that. But so basically, I figured out the columns that I wanted, kept them minimal because I do like to have a hard copy for me just to manipulate. But I opened that spreadsheet up, and I'm trying to think what else I had on there. So I kind of went, most of them you're going to see, they have at most maybe 2 key personnel people listed, especially with one that says 1 to 5 employees. We're probably going to see even less. So you're going to see the business owner name, maybe a second one. So if there were some exceptions mixed in there when you're working with bigger companies, just figure out who those are, but don't like have all those columns and blank, you know, information there. So I printed that to something I could work. Well, I didn't print it yet. I went through and I created a column next to that that said Shannon's notes. So then as I started looking into that company, I'd look on Facebook, I'd Google, try to see what I could find out if they had a website that kind of gave me some information. Are the reviews talking about 5 different technicians that came to their house, or they just, everything keeps going back to David was awesome, David. So it's like, okay, David's, you know, key in the community. So I would just make a little note over to the side about whatever I might have learned from a review or something. And I just went through each company that way. And I got to where I started jumping over things. Some of it was just gut, you know, but I would jump over anything that seemed like a franchise, like Ace Hardware or the doctors. I kind of put them on my list, thinking, well, I'll go to them later if I need to, but they're probably going to have a tougher gatekeeper, you know, the vets, stuff like that. But Tina said that, you know, sometimes if you can get a vet, you know, they deal with animals. So it could be good contacts, but that would probably be a better referral to have from somebody in the town already saying that, so that when I go into the vet, I can go, Mike and Ursula said I've got to come talk to you, you know, and then so then I have a little bit of credibility. But going into some of these more professional locations with no referrals felt harder. And so I was waiting on them. So I started using my spreadsheet like this for a while with little notes. And then I finally found that having a Word document open for me was helpful. So whether you're a note taker by hand or you want to be typing your notes, it was easy for me to have this area where I was just typing in random thoughts that I would have while I was looking up somebody. And it may not have any rhyme or reason as to what you're writing down, but if it seems for a second like you should jot it down, go ahead and jot it down, because then when you're reevaluating everything and what you've learned from them, you've got every thought that came across your mind, and then you can determine if it was just pointless or if it could come into play. Because little by little, as I had all these notes down and was continuing to cross-reference the Globe Life list, I would see little things that would make me question, like, is this the same last name as the blah blah corporation's owner? Maybe they're related. So then I would get back on Facebook and I'd start trying to see if I could look at their friend list. So what I was saying earlier is that when you're looking at the client list, if you were looking at Stephenville on Globe Life, the list must be in some kind of date order of when they signed up or something. There's kind of no rhyme or reason to it. So that's the list that I said that I retyped. And so I have an A to Z list of all my clients in the area, or not my clients, Globalized clients. Can y'all see this? Can anyone see this? I don't hear y'all.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
So basically, the reason I put it in a Word document is because then if I saw, you know, if I came across something, I would write a little list. Things she's related to Blake Barber, you know, of Oak Grove, Kenmore Repair. She's divorced, maybe his ex. So I'm just making notes left and right because I'm like, well, I don't want to walk into some lady that hates her ex-husband and I'm saying, you know, oh, I hear Deborah's a client, you know, she's a client. It's like, she's a, you know. So I was trying to put some pieces together before I name dropped to make sure I kind of could figure out who they were. Then I figured out who was a teacher, who had connections with, oh, I did look at everybody that was on the client list. I went down their friends lists. And one of the first steps that Tina had me do when I was ready to start doing my research is I looked up all, and she may have said this earlier, I looked up all the key people in the city. You know, I knew who the essential people were, of police chief, city council, all those names. So I had those on this little Word document list. And so as I went through all the clients and whoever I could find on Facebook, I would look at their friend list to see if any of these key names were on their friend list. If they were, I'd make a note of it. And then I'd, you know, dive in and see how well did they know each other. And so it was, Amanda, it is stalking at its finest, but nothing that you would ever tell these people that that's how you learned about them. But I have to say that there were so many little weird connections. Some of them are, you know, suspected connection. I think that's what it is. Don't really know. But I had enough information to go on with who knew who that we were able to kind of sound like we knew more than we did when we started talking to the chief, you know, the fire chief and the city council. So, and we also knew who to kind of concentrate on first. So, did I leave anything out, Tina?
No, I think that, I mean, I think you're,
Document. Here's Jeff Jordan. He's the mayor of this town. So I was a little too detailed in the beginning, not realizing quite how much work this was going to involve. So I was like super detailed. It's like, okay, his wife's name is this. He has young girls. Then I got more detailed. Amy's really big into St. Jude's fundraisers. Then I started looking at which friends of Amy's posted fundraiser information that they engaged in. So then I started looking at those people. If I couldn't find a lot on Facebook, I would Google them. And I, you know, found people that actually lost children in accidents. And then we found out, you know, who in the town is kind of like the key person of philanthropy for a cause of different things. And, you know, she talks a lot about GoFundMe. See if you can find GoFundMes for the town. And so all that stuff started connecting between people in prominent positions who on our client list actually knew any of these people, and then kind of helped us figure out how to talk to those people. And then the weird thing about it is we found out by coincidence when we were sitting in the city council office that the mom who lost 2 children in a car accident is now the president of the board of the Chamber of Commerce. So it's like she's influential in the town. So we're like, okay, you know, so just kind of, and just try to look up dates and be, you know, obviously if you know somebody's lost 2 children in a car accident, you're not going to be even the remotest bit, you know, insensitive when you're talking to her about any kind of policies. You're going to really word it in a way that you do not offend at all, and that you can bring out, you know, the caring side and who does she know and stuff. So I haven't met all of these people. I'm just saying it's prepared me for when their name comes up, I can act like I know it. And I actually met the artist, one of the men that had a fundraiser that was friends with the lady that had all this stuff. when I finally went in and introduced myself to them, it was easy because I knew a lot about him already. And so I was just more casual in talking to him. So.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so if anything, guys, I think what I saw is that Shannon having done this research, regurgitating it to me once we got in the car, which we took probably an hour to review the information so that I could get a feel for the territory through her research, and then going out and showing her what to do with it. Her confidence shot up in approaching the territory. So where you may be feeling whatever it is, everybody's going to feel differently, but either way, we all feel scared.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We all feel that. I feel it still, guys. I mean, I still feel it. I mean, but when you have some knowledge, it increases your confidence. And the idea behind the whole, in the script, it's, I've been at this place and this place and this place. It's to help people believe you know people, right? It's who you know. It's name. It's in the business, they call it names and claims, right? Who do you know? Names. So when you have these names to use, as long as you've been in front of them and at least met them, right? Oh yeah, I was down with Bubba and he blah, blah, blah. Oh my God, he's such a character, you know? And that's how you use it. I was down with Bubba and then I was over with what? Oh my God, that person, like, that whatever it is, you use this to create your conversations, to make those conversations sound warmer, like you've been in the territory forever. So it's your job to go be the mayor of the town and shake hands and kiss babies. And you have to know people to be the mayor of the town. So this is what everything this training is to teach you how to learn your territory. And then you go out and use this information to gather more information, and makes it easier for people to say yes to you when you're just like, hey, I just need some help. I was with such and such and such and such. I just need, a few minutes to show you what I do. Are you open-minded to, it makes it easier because now you've got a warm connection versus an extremely cold connection. And the warm connection you can make sound really, really warm, even though you've never, you've not sold them. You're not saying that. You're not lying. You're just saying you were with them and you know something about them. What they assume is on them, So, because I never make any false claims. So that's kind of.
Can I jump in?
Absolutely.
If y'all are like me, it's like if I can relate to people and I can see them as human beings, it changes how I approach them. And so by researching this town and learning like where the pain was in the town, where the triumphs are, when do they come together? There's a family that lost the mom to COVID like a month ago, and so they did a fundraiser a couple weeks ago. And it's like, it's just good to see. I see that human side through the research. And so when I go into it, I just feel more compassionate than I do when they're just a bunch of names or just a bunch of business signs that I don't know anything about them. I think it's been more effective for how I think than anything else, because I see them more as real people. Not that they're not, but it's hard when they're strangers. So I feel like I live in a little town, basically.
Yeah, I think that was my takeaway too, to watch Shannon. So Shannon's probably been the best that I've trained at actually doing the research like I would do it. And yeah, Shannon's like, I already feel like this is my community. And to hear her excitement from fear and not wanting to go out there to, this is my town, this is my territory, she just owned it after she did that research. It's like the emotional shift for her as soon as I got out there and we started working. She immediately took ownership of the territory because she knows the work she's going to do out there is going to impact people, because now she's seen already how many, oh my gosh, for that territory, tons of accidents. And she had found a client, she'd found a client, I think, or someone who had just had their son have an accident. So when you're already emotionally invested because you've done the research, it makes it way easier to go out there with that service minded, mentality, versus, like Dane said, I think on Monday or Tuesday, he's like, I just feel like a salesperson. I was like, then stop feeling like a salesperson. Go be a person. Go be a friend. Go make friends. And that's what this kind of does, is it allows you to be a part of the community and take ownership, right, Shannon? I mean, that's kind of what I saw you do.
So it's a process, and we don't sign everybody up in one day. It's like you told me, Tina made me feel good about the fact that this is laying the foundation. So I didn't have to, protect a family every hour. It was as much as if they said no, or you could tell that they weren't ready, that whole language of, the first time you're a stranger, the second time you're an acquaintance, third time you're a friend. So I know that I'm going to reapproach these people over time and just pop in, go buy something at their store. I had lunch at a cafe. I wasn't even ready to eat yet. And I was like, I need to go eat here. So I had a salad, just trying to be visible, and I walk around the town square a lot, just going to my car and just hoping that as people drive by, they'll recognize my face if they see me somewhere else.
Do a big wave. Like, it may sound cheesy and you may not know them, but just smile and wave. Just smile and wave. Just smile and wave at everybody. Hey, because someday they're gonna be like, oh, that's that girl that does that cancer stuff. That's that girl that does that accident stuff. So just smile and wave at people. Okay, go make friends, be friendly, and
don't take anybody off driving.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Hopefully you got something out of this.